Hi, I'm David Fetter, Executive Editor Technical for Prepared Foods, and welcome to a Prepared Foods special presentation on formulating foods and beverages with gums. Joining us today is Dr. Erhan Yildiz. He's director of the hydrocolloid consulting group SKC LLC. He's an adjunct professor of food science at Rutgers University and a food industry consultant. He's also one of the top experts in the country on hydrocolloids for foods and beverages. He was also the former Senior Director of Technical Services in the US and Canada for Carrageenan, and he was the former head of R&D for Tick Gums. Now today, Dr. Yildiz will be presenting us with a brief overview on trends in gums that are used in making today's food and beverage products, and a little look ahead at what's coming down the pipeline as well in the category. Welcome, Dr. Yildiz.
Thank you, David. I'm very happy to be here.
I wanted to jump right in because with the big push by consumers for clean labels and natural ingredients, well, gums got gummed up in some misconceptions that they're somehow artificial additives. But these are natural ingredients, right?
It's absolutely true, David. They are natural ingredients. Even though gum processing spans a wide range of processing conditions, most of the gums are manufactured by either physical or fermentation type processes, and these are traditional processes. They've been around for a very long time, and there are ingredients that we love and accept today as natural ingredients, such as flowers, maple syrup, yogurt, kombucha, bread, beer, so on and so forth. All of these are either manufactured by physical processes or by fermentation. So it is very fair, in my opinion, to call hydrocolloids or gums as close to nature, minimally processed agricultural ingredients.
Gotcha. So what else can you tell us about the widespread use of gums?
They are actually kitchen cupboard ingredients all around the world. For example, if you look at Mediterranean, locust bean gum or LBG is in everyone's kitchen actually. I was in Turkey last week and even my family had either the pods of LBG or LBG syrup or LBG powder in their kitchen cupboards, and it's widely used. It has a lot of benefits. It has medicinal properties, so really beneficial ingredients, but it's not limited to LBG. If you look at guar in India, it's a kitchen cupboard product, or acacia in Africa, it's a kitchen cupboard product. So hydrocolloids are actually a great original plant-based ingredients that are used to thicken, gel, stabilize, or provide texture for food formulations.
Huh. So how did they become controversial for that brief period that they were controversial?
It really pains me to see that, David. I love these ingredients, and unfortunately, I believe it is a unfamiliarity issue. Scientists are not necessarily marketing folks. So they really, if you think about xanthan, comes from a bacteria called Xanthomonas. So I'm sure when they were first naming this hydrocolloid that comes from Xanthomonas, they didn't think about anything else but to be as close to origin as possible and name it xanthan.
Ah.
Carrageenan is another example. It comes from seaweed, which is a phenomenally beneficial ingredient. But again, I think when they named the product that comes from seaweed Carrageenan, they didn't think about consumer perception. So as people started to read labels, this unfamiliarity became an issue because they didn't recognize the ingredients and they had a difficult time accepting those ingredients, even though they are minimally processed, close to nature ingredients.
Gotcha. And the controversy over Carrageenan did seem to die down once the education of consumers, that process where Carrageenan makers got out there and said, no, this is seaweed. So once it was made clear to consumers that it was just a seaweed derivative that even had beneficial health properties, the controversy seemed to go away. And we've seen the same with acacia, I believe, because again, strange name, And then by the time the FDA approved it late last year as a prebiotic fiber, it did seem to ease everyone's mind, all the consumers, that might have had hesitation before. So I see what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm very happy with this Carrageenan issue passing because, like you said, it's a very, very good ingredient, very functional ingredient, and there was really no foundation, in my view, and based on that original work, that one article that characterized the product. So, but so manufacturers are actually paying a lot more attention to consumer perception, and they are coming up with more consumer friendly, consumer positive ingredients, such as citrus fiber, and you're gonna love this, maple fiber, seaweed powder. Yeah,
Okay, wait. Maple fiber?
yeah,
Like,
it's the new one.
ah,
And basically, citrus fiber has been around for a very long time,
right.
and there are several manufacturers now making citrus fibers, but maple fiber is a new one, but it has some way to go with the GRAS certification with FDA. So we'll see how that proceeds. But I am very excited about seaweed flour and seaweed powder as new ingredients that are being introduced to marketplace that has similar functionality to original seaweed hydrocolloids, but with a lot more simpler process and a lot more consumer friendly labels.
Oh, cool. I'm going to be thinking of maple fiber next time I pour maple syrup on my pancakes. You said they're still doing the work to make it GRAS certified. Do they know if it has any prebiotic characteristics?
So it's a cellulosic polymer, so it is a fiber. I want to say that hydrocolloids, in addition to having probiotic abilities, some of them have been shown to have antimicrobial properties or even antioxidant properties.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. And just coming back to acacia for a second, David, it is one of my favorite ingredients. And I was very happy that FDA reversed the fiber ruling because originally acacia was considered as fiber by FDA in the US. Then, FDA lifted that consideration, but rest of the world still used acacia as a fiber. And now FDA reversed that decision to reclassify acacia as a fiber. And it's a great ingredient. It's a multifunctional ingredient. It's a great emulsifier, bulking agent, so on and so forth. So the fiber ruling is most welcome. But speaking of multifunctionality of products that hydrocolloids are obtained from, typically something like chia, for example, right? So that it has oil, protein, hydrocolloids. So if one can figure out a way to efficiently extract all these ingredients, this could be a really important ingredient and add to our hydrocolloid portfolio.
Oh wow! So that's in addition to the soluble and insoluble fibers from these sources. Excellent. These really are multi-purpose ingredients. Are there any gum sources that we should keep an eye on coming down the pike in a year or two?
I mean, I think there are some that are now having a renaissance, if you will. So konjac is one of them. I see more and more konjac being used in various different applications, and I've recently seen clarified konjac, for various applications that require absolute clarity. It's a unique hydrocolloid with the highest viscosity. It has a lot of synergies with different hydrocolloids that makes it really a star hydrocolloid in my view. There's also tamarind seed gum, which is said to have a really good mouthfeel property. So I'm expecting to see more of these two existing hydrocolloids in food formulations. But in terms of what is coming down the pike, there are a few things that have to line up for new hydrocolloids to make it into mainstream. One of them is regulatory status of these hydrocolloids. The second one is processing methods. Do they fit into these traditional processing methods, or do they have to develop, manufacturers have to develop new processing methods? It's going to be an issue. Also, value proposition and cost, right? Either these hydrocolloids have to be really novel in their performance compared to existing benchmarks, or they will have to be cheaper in cost in use in final formulations.
Right. So, what other new ones do you think could fit into those parameters?
I've seen a few that I'm excited about. I can list them. So,
Go for it.
sure. Okay. One of them is a tree exudate called brie gum. It could give acacia a run for its money, if you will. It's a really good emulsifying hydrocolloid, and it has a high interfacial activity. So, I'm looking forward to seeing how that product develops.
Okay,
There's
that's
also
Brea gum. How do you
yeah,
spell that?
BREA.
BREA.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And some others to watch out for.
Yeah, so there's another one, another seed gum called clasping pepperweed. So it's supposed to have higher extraction yield versus some other seed gums like fenugreek. So it may be a commercially relevant ingredient. There's one more that comes from a mustard family, and it is called camelina gum. So the flowering crop that this hydrocolloid is extracted has been around for centuries, but now it's seeing more of a rapid growth. And the hydrocolloid, this camelina gum, is supposed to have a really low high shear viscosity, which means at rest it has a high viscosity, which could be a suspending agent, thickener, and stabilizer. And there's one more which is supposed to have a really high low shear viscosity as well, and that is a pig nut gum. And it's supposed to
Never
be
heard of it.
yeah, it's an interesting one, but it's supposed to give this something in between soft gel and viscous liquid type of a property, and has a really high low shear viscosity. So it may have really interesting suspension properties. And then there's one more that it's called greater plantain, and it has a lot of polyphenols and flavonoids. So it could be a multifunctional hydrocolloid if these hydrocolloids fulfill all the criteria that I mentioned to be commercially relevant.
And what's that one called?
Greater plantain.
Greater plantain. Okay. I know that plantain flour is getting some traction, so this fits right in there. Does it have any other benefits other than its viscosity and gelling properties?
Yeah, it has flavonoids, it have antioxidant activity. So, it has a high polyphenol content. So, it does have other functional benefits.
Wow. So you get antioxidants and your gelling capacity. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Very impressive. So it looks like we're nowhere near tapping into the full range of these great resources for functional gums. What else can you tell us about that?
I mean, they are nature's building blocks, right? So you look around and there is a variation in a way plants or seaweeds build up polymers based on their environment, based on their surrounding, moisture, temperature, so on and so forth. So nature has so many different options, and it's exciting to see scientists exploring those and finding more functional and beneficial ingredients.
Wow. So we're finding out today just so much about gums that they're critical for flavor, texture, overall eating experience, but they can impart healthful benefits, and sounds like they're a win-win for food and beverage makers anywhere and everywhere. So, wow. Dr. Yildiz, thank you so much for that comprehensive, in-depth look at the current and future trends in the plant hydrocolloids that we're so cavalierly calling gums. I want to give our audience a big thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of plant gums with Dr. Erhan Yildiz. You can reach him at erhan.yildiz@foodhydrocolloids.com. And we also invite you to check out our growing coverage at preparedfoods.com under the media menu for more of these on-trend topics of interest to the food and beverage formulators presented by the top experts in the industry like Dr. Yildiz. Hope to see you guys again soon. Thank you for joining us. This is David Fetter, Executive Editor Technical for Prepared Foods. Goodbye.